The courtroom was packed. Cameras, reporters, lawyers from across the country. A corruption case that had gripped the nation was about to begin. At the defense table sat Mr. Nyakwoi Fan, seasoned, sharp, unshaken, one of Liberia's most celebrated legal minds. He adjusted his tie, flipped through the case files, and whispered to his co-counsel, "Court Sheriff, loud and clear, all rise." This honorable court now resumes session, presided by Her Honor, Judge Deapeah Zor. He stood, like everyone else. But when she walked in, it wasn't just her youth that caught his attention. It was her face, her walk, her resemblance. She looked like Mama D. His breath caught. He blinked. She took her seat at the bench with quiet authority, black robe flowing, eyes firm. Then his eyes dropped to the nameplate on her desk. Judge Deapeah Zor. Zor? His breath caught. Blood drained from his face. Not Fane, not Chroma, not Johnson. Zor, just like her mother, like that girl he once knew. The girl he once left. The girl whose world he upended with 7 careless words. "I'm too young to be a father." His fingers tightened slightly on his pen. A flash of memory hits him like thunder. A dorm room at UL tears. A trembling hand holding a test with 2 pink lines. And him, young, arrogant, terrified, walking away like a shadow in daylight. The girl he disowned before she could cry was now the woman before whom he had to plead. There are stories that begin with celebration, but this one begins with silence. Not the silence of peace, but of abandonment. In the early hours of a rainy July night in Buchanan, a baby girl was born. The world did not cheer. No balloons, no cigars, no proud father pacing the hallway. Just the sound of thunder in the distance, the sharp cry of a newborn, and a single mother biting her lip to stop herself from weeping. Her name? Deapeah Zor. Her mother? Mama D. Zor, barely 23. A second-year law student at the University of Liberia, who once dreamed of defending the voiceless. But dreams, like fragile roofs in the rainy season, sometimes leak and crumble when you least expect it. It was a Tuesday when she showed him the test, 2 pink lines trembling in her hand. Mama D quietly said, "Nyakwoi, I'm pregnant." He stared, long. Then slowly, coldly, he whispered. Nyakwoi, with no second thought, said, "I'm too young to be a father." No argument, no discussion, just a grab of his bag, and the door closed behind him. Mama D returned to Buchanan, humiliated. Her father had died the year before. Her mother lived far inland, sickly and without means, so she moved into her auntie's backyard house, a zinc-roof single room with no ceiling, just wooden beams and memories. She hung a bed sheet to separate her bed from the baby's. By day, she sold roasted plantains on Tubman Street. By night, she tutored neighborhood children under a flickering bulb. On Saturdays, she braided hair under a mango tree. 3 braids for 20 Liberian dollars. Also, her daughter could wear shoes to school. Mama D, exhausted but firm, said, "You will learn, Deapeah. You will stand where I could not." Deapeah didn't just go to school. She owned the classroom. First to answer, last to leave. Spelling bee champion, county debate finalist. And at 13, she carried the Constitution of Liberia in her backpack, folded like sacred scripture. She never asked about her father. She didn't need to. Her mother's back told her everything she needed to know. Years passed. The little girl from Buchanan became a name on the dean's list. Law was her language, justice her rhythm. By age 22, Deapeah walked across the graduation stage, first in her family to ever wear a gown. Soft music cue, ululation, applause, flashbulbs. She interned under female judges, rose through the ranks of the Ministry of Justice, and by 28, she wore a robe of her own, black and gold, heavy with expectation. Her appointment made the headlines. Youngest female judge in Liberia, Deapeah Zor breaks barriers. It was a landmark case, multi-million-dollar embezzlement, government contracts, missing funds, shell companies. The nation watched. The courtroom was full, and Judge Zor sat, pen in hand, her face unreadable. Then the defense lawyer rose, tall, silver-bearded, proud. His name? Nyakwoi Fan. He didn't flinch, didn't hesitate, didn't recognize her. But Deapeah, she recognized everything, the voice, the posture, the way he said, "Your Honor," like it tasted foreign in his mouth. She let him speak. Nyakwoi calmly said, addressing her, "The defense moves to strike this evidence as inadmissible. It was obtained under questionable procedural circumstances." Deapeah, interrupting softly, "Mr. Fan," he paused. Deapeah measured. "Before we continue, permit me one personal question," he raised a brow. Deapeah asked, "If a man disowns his child before birth, is that youth or cowardice?" The air changed. Papers stilled. Chairs creaked. No one breathed. Nyakwoi's eyes narrowed, then widened. Nyakwoi, softly. "Deapeah," in that single breath, time folded in on itself. He saw the baby he never held, the girl he never hugged, the woman who now held his fate. In the silence between her words, "This court is not a place for personal reunion. We are here for the truth, for justice. Let's proceed." She ruled the case fairly. No bias, no revenge, just law, like her mother taught her. But when she stepped down from the bench, justice had already risen. Nyakwoi stood by the courthouse gate. His briefcase hung from his arm like dead weight. She passed. He turned. Nyakwoi, softly. "I was too young, Deapeah. I didn't know what to do." She stopped. Deapeah, without anger. "You weren't too young, Mr. Fan. You were just too weak." She walked on, strong, unshaken. She didn't need an apology. She had already written her own ending. Today, Judge Deapeah Zor funds scholarships for daughters of single mothers. She travels to counties most judges never visit. She builds libraries in places forgotten by maps. And just last year, she broke ground for the Mamadi Legal Fellowship for Women in Law. On her desk in Monrovia sits a framed photo, not of her in robes, but of Mamadi, holding her as a baby in the back of that single room in Buchanan. News of the trial had spread quickly, especially in Buchanan. People whispered, "How could she be his daughter?" And he never knew. No, he knew. He just ran. That girl is her mother's child, strong like Mamadi. One morning, Mamadi Zor sat outside her small kitchen hut, sorting cassava leaves. Her fingers were quick, but her face was far away, heavy with memory. A car pulled up, a black SUV, out of place in the sandy yard. The tires crunched to a halt and the door opened. It was him, Nyakoi Fan. Suit jacket off, just a white shirt now, creased and human. Mamadi, without looking up, you found your way to court, and now you found your way here. Nyakoi softly said, I don't know what I'm looking for, Mamadi, but I think it's peace. She looked up older now, but her eyes held the same steel he remembered from college. Mamadi, quiet but clearly said, peace doesn't come just because you want it, Nyakoi. It comes after the storm you created has stopped tearing things apart. He listened. For the first time, he listened. She didn't yell. She didn't curse. She just told the truth. How it felt to go to every prenatal visit alone. How she bled once and prayed she wouldn't lose the baby because no one would be there. How she dropped out, cried alone, and stitched her broken future thread by thread. And how she raised a giant with no help. Nyakoi, she's amazing, Mamadi. You raised her well. Mamadi, firm. She raised herself too. Pain can grow roots if it's watered by love. Nyakoi, can I at least get to know her? Maybe talk to her someday? Mamadi, that's not my choice anymore, Nyakoi. You gave that power away the day you walked out that door. She didn't say it out of anger, but out of truth. He nodded, then reached into his pocket and pulled out a small envelope. Inside, a check, a large sum. Mamadi looked at it, then tore it in half. You can't buy time, Nyakoi. You can only live with the time you wasted. Months later, Mamadi launched a leadership program for young girls with Deapeah's support. They didn't wait for anyone to save them. They built what no one gave them. Nyakoi never tried to force his way back in. He simply started showing up, quietly, donating books, fixing a school roof, speaking to young men about responsibility. Redemption doesn't erase the past, but sometimes it builds a small bridge to face it. Too young to be a father was never about age. It was always about courage. And where one man walked away, a woman stood her ground and raised a daughter who would one day judge the very silence he left behind. The absence of a father may be a scar, but it is not a curse. What matters is not who walked away, but who stayed behind and lifted you. And so, from the ashes of abandonment, rose a story of strength, justice, and healing. Not every apology comes in words, and not every ending is revenge. Sometimes the most powerful justice is simply becoming who they said you'd never be. What part of Deapeah's journey touched you the most? Was it her mother's sacrifice, the courtroom moment, or the quiet strength of choosing to forgive without forgetting? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and tell us your favorite part of the story. If you believe in stories that inspire, uplift, and reveal the heart of Africa, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the bell for more powerful Liberian and African tales like this one, Daddy Coco. A story is all it takes to heal a generation.